So I'm happy at this point to introduce our first honoree of the evening. Arnoldo Avalos grew up in Gridley and attended Butte College while dual enrolled at Gridley High School. He's the youngest of 7 whose parents worked as migrant farm workers while growing up. Arnoldo went on to UC Berkeley and later Harvard University. He enjoyed a successful career working for Cisco Systems, Google, and Facebook. In 2013, he co-founded the Avalos Foundation, which provides scholarships and mentorships to students from the Upper Sacramento Valley. In 2014, he was appointed to the California Community College Board of Governors by Governor Jerry Brown. So let's learn a little bit more about Arnoldo.
My parents are migrants to this country. My father came to this country as a bracero in 1947 at the age of 17, decided that Gridley was where he wanted to make a home. So I'm the youngest of 7.
I moved to Gridley to teach at Gridley High School, and Arnoldo was one of the first students who came in to see me and wanted to get some help with writing. He took to help and being educated very easily. I think he always knew what he was going to do.
You know, I had the opportunity to meet Arnoldo when he was first appointed to the Board of Governors, and although I didn't know much about him, it was pretty quickly evident to me that this young man is an impressive individual with a tremendous background and a great deal of passion for higher education.
I went to Gridley High School, where I was able to dual enroll at Butte College at the same time. I started Butte College really my freshman year.
A good example of his drive maybe had to do with the fact that taking classes at the high school was not enough for him. He always needed more, and that's where he found a way to do that at Butte College. He comes from a working background, and it was not an easy kind of work that his folks did, and for him that was only a beginning, and I think a motivation to be as good as he could be, because that's what they hoped for, and maybe that's what they expected. I
was exposed to college education very early in life through my parents. Although they didn't have formal education, they believed in the concept of getting a 4-year degree. The fact that I was exposed to a community college such as Butte allowed me to actually get a better perspective on what higher education meant. So I did attend Berkeley, and it was a challenge. And having college credit exposure at Butte helped me take on the tough courses and take on the tough experience.
You know, he went on to Berkeley, he went on to Harvard and JFK School of Public Policy.
And I applied for a public policy program at Harvard and at Princeton, and I was able to be accepted at both. Decided that Harvard was probably a better fit for me, so I went to the John F. Kennedy School of Public Policy at Harvard. And my first job out of Harvard was to actually work for the Environmental Protection Agency in San Francisco. I was working for Anderson Consulting. From there, I was exposed to the whole tech industry in the Silicon Valley. In 1999, I started working for Cisco. From Cisco, I was able to switch careers a bit and focus on the area of compensation, where I worked for Google.
He worked in the private sector, Cisco and Google, and then ended up at this really pretty much unknown small company called Facebook.
And then Facebook in 2008 came to me and asked me if I wanted to start the compensation department at Facebook. I was the first person hired to start this department. You know, I spent 5 years there at Facebook, took it from a 400-person company to a 5,000-person world-renowned company.
Being appointed to the Board of Governors of California's community colleges is a tremendous honor, and certainly one that involves a great deal of careful scrutiny and selective attributes based on the governor's office, and ultimately undergo a confirmation process by the California Senate.
So I was appointed by Governor Brown in 2014. It's a big honor to be a part of this board. It's an opportunity for me to continue my concept of giving, but in my involvement in academics and education, because that's the core. And education is the biggest equalizer, has been in my life. It's taken me from a farm worker kid from Gridley, California, to a person who now is a philanthropist, a person who now owns companies, a person who sits on a community board. It's my opportunity to give back.
He's the kind of young man who always, when you engage him, is always wanting to know more and is always, I think, reacting to and imagining and thinking beyond what's happening now.
I've never seen a Board of Governor member attend as many of our colleges as Arnoldo has during his tenure on the board. He has probably visited 20 or 30 of our colleges even in his short tenure. He's really serious about finding out about our colleges and what their needs are, but more importantly, he's very interested in the needs of our students. And so what we've seen in him as a board member already is a real attention to anything that impacts our students, especially those who are economically and educationally disadvantaged.
And to me, two objectives I have as being part of this board is, one, I'd love to see, student outcomes, to improve that. Secondly is, how do we engage the community college system to make sure that we work together to help students achieve their dreams.
And he's always wanting to do more, and I think the thing that has impressed me the most about him is that he, in his foundation, has reached out to students who need some support with scholarship money and mentoring, and has followed through with, putting his money where his ideas are.
What my wife and I are doing in terms of supporting students through their educational careers, in a sense, is to give back to the community of the Upper Sacramento Valley. That's why we started the Avalos Foundation in 2012, to really invest our own money into students. Our role is basically to help students from the Upper Sacramento Valley, high-achieving, low-income kids of all ethnicities, to help them get to UC, right, to graduate from UC.
It doesn't surprise me that Butte College has, in its wisdom, selected Arnoldo Avalos as one of its distinguished alumni. And obviously, he's a wonderful representative for Butte College and someone that Butte College can be proud of.
If a teacher wanted someone to be as good as they can be and to turn out the best that they could be, you couldn't have done any better. A teacher couldn't have done any better than to have had him as a student.
Everything I've done in life is never to seek recognition in any which way. It's always a way of giving back to those professors, those teachers who believed in me as an individual. The reality is I stand on the shoulders of others. Obviously it starts at home with your parents, but it's the teachers, the coaches you have, and to be recognized to be a Butte College Alumnus of the Year is a big statement to me. It feels good to say, what, this time you are being recognized because you are doing good in the larger community and you are helping others in the larger community, but also you're being a role model.
Please join me in honoring Arnoldo Avalos, Alumni of the Year.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight. Like I mentioned in my video, this is a very important night, not only for me, but also for the students. And I've asked the students to be here and stand up, please, because ultimately what we do in this room is not about me, right? It's about them, okay? Because when I was their age, it was all about education. And we all know, every one of us in this room knows that education makes a difference in people's lives. Education matters. And so to me, I've been blessed. I've been blessed by the power of one. But one, like all of you here tonight, collectively is more powerful than one individual. You guys can sit down. Thank you. As I articulate what it means to be power of one, I witnessed that today. Today, I went to visit a woman who's 93 years old. Her name is Barbara Copeland. She was a high school counselor at Chico High. Some of you might know her, right? What's impressive about Barbara Copeland is that she was my wife, Alma Ruth's, go ahead and stand up, Alma. My wife's counselor. The uniqueness about this story is one person can impact someone's life forever. Barbara Copeland was the person that impacted my wife's life forever. My wife, at the age of 6, returned to Mexico. She was born here in the United States, but her parents said, you know what, we want you to go back to Mexico, live with your grandmother, and be taught in a private Catholic school taught by nuns, okay? That's what they wanted for her. And so 10 years passed from the age of 6 to 16. At the age of 16, Alma had to come back to the United States. Her mother was ill. And so she came to a little town in Northern California called Chico, right here. Chico, California, Chico High School. 10 years have passed. Her English wasn't great. She's never been in the educational system in the United States. She needed an angel. She needed someone to hold her, to help her. And who was that person? Her high school counselor, Barbara Copeland, right? That made a huge difference because Barbara helped her make a decision. Alma had great grades in Mexico, straight A's all the way through. She came at the age of 16, junior year, straight A's, and Barbara said, with these grades, you can go anywhere you want to go. Where do you want to go? What university do you want to attend? Alma, of course, didn't have a concept of what university she wanted to attend, didn't have a concept of what university meant. Barbara guided her. She said, why don't you think about UC Berkeley? Why don't you think about Davis? And through that guidance, Alma went to Berkeley. That was 1989. Down the road, a little town called Gridley, where I grew up, 1989, I was also accepted to Berkeley. A year later, I met Alma at Berkeley in 1990, okay? 1990. 10 years passed. We reconnected. We were married 5 months after meeting in fall of 2000. So we're celebrating now our 15th wedding anniversary this month, March. But what's important is one counselor, one person made the difference in Alma's life. And if it wasn't for that one person, I would have never met Alma. That's how real this is. That's how real this room is. It is super real that each one of you as individuals collectively support One Butte College. And that's why we're here, to truly support One Butte College. And I commit my support to Butte College. I told Alma we're bringing our checkbook today, and we're going to make a donation, of course, like hopefully all you will today. I stand before you like I mentioned. I am one person, but behind me, I'm like the Verizon commercial. I don't know if you guys remember this. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Right? Can you hear me now? And behind that person, that spokesperson on commercial, they had like 1,000, 2,000 people behind them. That is my reality. My reality is I stand on the shoulders of others. I would not be the person I am today if it weren't like my teacher, Marianne Warner, who's here today, like my brother, Francisco Avalos, the oldest of 7, okay? By the time I was a first grader, he was already at Chico State. He opened the pathway. He was the visionary to say, I'm going to college. And 5 of my brothers and sisters went off to follow his footsteps to get a college degree. So I owe him a lot. I have my friends of childhood friends, Mr. and Mrs. Korea. They're here today. As I mentioned, maybe I didn't in the video, my father never went to school. Couldn't read or write in Spanish or in English here in the United States. My mother has a 4th grade education. I really depended on my peers, on the parents of my peers, to take me to practice, sometimes take me home, take me to games. They were meaningful people in my life, and they represent what an extended peer group really means to me and what it meant to me as an individual. I also have friends here, Sotero and Maria Amaya. Those are my friends who collectively have made me a better person. Through them, I've seen challenges. Through them, I've seen the importance of education as well. As they got married at the age of 20, started a family, but yet they didn't stop. Maria went off to get her get her a Juris Doctorate, to be an attorney, and Sotero went off to get his master's. So these are examples that I have today, right here close to me, that make me the person I am today. And that's why it is so important to continue to invest in these students that were here. The football team, scholarships to them, scholarships to other students, and ultimately, at Butte College, what it represents in today's America is so important to move us forward as a community as a whole. And that's what we're doing tonight, coming together as one to support one Butte College. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening, and I hope we'll get your support later tonight. Thank you.
Our next honoree tonight is Kory, who earned his associate's degree in social science while playing a little football with Larry Allen, I'm told. He later was sponsored by Butte County for the 81st Basic Law Enforcement Academy, and he joined the Sheriff's Office in 1993. He worked patrol, investigations, the District Attorney's Office, and served as the Undersheriff for several years. He's also one of the few sheriffs who holds a law degree and is a member of the State Bar of California. In 2014, he became the 31st Butte County Sheriff. Let's hear a little bit more about Kory.
Kory is certainly an American success story. You know, he came to Butte College probably 25, 26 years ago to play football here and to get his education. Kory, though, just demonstrated great work ethic and was a great teammate. He actually played on a great football team. And he went on from there to go to the police academy and then start his law enforcement career, getting his law degree, just doing those kind of things, doing a lot of community service, then rising up through the police academy to become the sheriff of Butte County.
Kory's inspirational. You know, he inspires motivation. He inspires change. You know, let's change the process. Let's move on and let's come together to solve problems. You know, he's charismatic. He's a people person. You have to see the future when no one else sees it, and you have to be determined that, you know, we're going to go this path, and that's working. It's working all throughout the community. So those are the values I see. He's honest. He's honorable. He's